What's going on, guys? Jordan WS here, live from Massachusetts, broadcast with a guy all across the globe in a totally different time zone, but talking about the one thing that brings all wrestling fans together, and that is professional wrestling. I haven't seen you guys in too long, face-to-face, but don't want to talk about that now. I want to talk about the fact that we're here. I want to talk about the fact that we're doing one of the staples of my channels and the channel that of the guy that I'm with, the guy that I'm happy to once again be sharing the screen with, for what should be a very exciting live stream and a very exciting video that you can watch back when it gets published. I'd like to throw it back to my co-host, I guess you could say, MrJasonDiba. Jason, how you doing, my friend?
Very good, thank you, Jordan. How about you? It's good to be here once again on your channel.
Absolutely. It's been too long, as I said, for me, being face-to-face with the YouTube omniverse in general, and to be doing one of these live streams. But alas, the road to WrestleMania is upon us, and here we are doing our good deed.
Yes, most exciting time of the year. We have the Royal Rumble in a few weeks, then we've got WrestleMania coming up. It's always an exciting time, so it's always good to talk some wrestling with you at this time of the year. It's great to see.
Absolutely. I feel the same way, man. I'm stoked to be here. I hope all you are enjoying right now, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching at a later date, or something in between. What we're planning on doing today is we're planning on going through the Royal Rumble real quick and talking about our predictions for the Royal Rumble event, and also talking about our early WrestleMania predictions, how we think the Rumble will turn out, what we think feuds and matches, and what WrestleMania will look like. It's so far in advance, and 90, 95, maybe 100% of this is probably going to be totally 100% incorrect, but it's all for fun. And we hope that you guys get a kick out of it, and maybe you make a video of your own, or you talk about it in the chat. This is all about what wrestling should be. Wrestling should be all about fun. Wrestling should be all about joining together. That's what we're hoping to do. And above all, we hope we can entertain. And if we entertain, drop a like, drop a subscribe, follow us on social media. But hey, you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear our predictions. So Jason, what do you say we get right into it?
Let's get right into it. And of course, as mentioned before, we got the Royal Rumble in 2 weeks. I think it's January 28th or something like that.
Yeah, January 28th, at least for US folks.
Yes, for Aussie folks, January 29th, one day later on a Monday. But yes, we got the Royal Rumble card going on at the moment. Pretty much solidly set at this stage. I mean, they might announce 1 or 2 extra matches in the build-up, but most of it has been pretty much announced already. Let's start off with the tag team title match that was just announced on SmackDown Live just this week. It's the Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which should be a very, very good match. What are your thoughts on this, Jordan?
A lot of people have been giving a lot of flack to Gable and Benjamin. They've been saying American Alpha was fine as is. There was no need to bring Jason Jordan over. What they're doing with him is stupid. We want Shelton Benjamin to have a singles run. There are already enough good tag teams as is. And people are kind of lukewarm to negative when it comes to Gable and Benjamin. But I really like them, because I've always loved the idea of a feud, or maybe like a mega stable with the world's greatest tag team or Team Angle, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, and Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, whether they were feuding or whether they were teaming together for some special anniversary show. That's always been kind of like a dream program for me. And so I really like, as people have been calling them, American Beta, Gable and Benjamin, because it's an incarnation of that. I think they're both fantastic wrestlers. Shelton Benjamin was one guy that I always loved when I first started watching, like the 2009, 2010 era. When he got released, I saw him at a bunch of indie shows. He's a great guy. He had some outstanding matches there. And Chad Gable was the heart and soul of American Alpha. So I think those guys are great, and I'm glad that they're getting some tag team spotlight. I think the match is going to be fantastic. But that being said, I think the Usos are the standard bearers of the tag team division, and I think it's going to be a great competitive match, and Gable and Benjamin are going to come out looking great. I think Jimmy and Jay are going to retain the titles and keep them all the way to Mania, and we will get there soon.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, Jordan. I haven't given too much thought to this match as it's just been announced recently, but I do know pretty much, you can say for a fact, that this match will really deliver, and the Usos always put in a great performance, especially on a big pay-per-view, especially at the Royal Rumble, and the solid matches that they had with the New Day over the summer is just unbelievable. So,
well, like match of the year candidates, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, and I think they're they're close friends in real life, so that obviously made it a little bit better.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah, in this terms of Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, yeah, as a tag team, I think they're doing very well together. I'm actually more of a fan of Chad Gable than Jason Jordan. I think many people are pretty much at this stage. Yeah, it's interesting how they cut a heel-like promo this week on SmackDown Live. And I haven't been tuning in too much to SmackDown Live, admittedly, over the last month or so. But yeah, I think last time, weren't they faces like a few weeks ago? Or is it just
yeah, kind of, sort of. They're kind of doing this tweener thing. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, but I kind of like it. It's pretty interesting, them as a heel team. Obviously, the Usos are a face team now and quite popular themselves. So I think they'll get the win here at the Royal Rumble and, as you said, keep the titles until Mania.
Absolutely. And can I just say about the Usos, I think those guys are awesome because they've always been great wrestlers and they've always had that heritage as part of the NY. I'm butchering that pronunciation, but that's Samoan Dynasty with The Rock and Rikishi and Roman Reigns and Yokozuna, etc. But I think a lot of the time their character work and, the coming out in these bathing suits and the tribal paint and the chanting, it was all very cheesy and didn't really connect. But now that they're doing this whole day one-ish thing, I love it. And they're allowed to really express their personality. If you watch Total Divas, even though it's, a cheesy, schlocky reality show, one of the most entertaining parts of that show is, I don't know if it's Jimmy or I think it's Jimmy?
Yeah.
John, Naomi's husband, one of the Usos. He's so funny and so entertaining. And the fact that both of them are able to show that side of themselves with this, character turn since the brand split basically has been awesome. And it's a career rejuvenation. And I think they've cemented themselves as one of the best tag teams in the past decade, if not longer.
Absolutely. Can't agree with you enough there. Yeah, definitely a much needed change was needed for them, I think last year or something when they changed to the heel characters and they've got all this new gear and the day one-ish thing. It's really helped their careers and it's skyrocketed them to one of the most popular tag teams in the company. So I love it.
Absolutely. What do we got on next on deck, my friend?
Next, let's go to the Raw Tag Team title match this time. Speaking of Jason Jordan, before we got Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan, which I still can't believe is a legit tag team, taking on Cesaro and Sheamus at the Bar. I really don't know what to think of this match. I'll leave this one for you for the moment, Jordan.
I don't get it. So I went to Raw the week before they won, the week before the New Year's Raw, where Jordan and Rollins won the Christmas Raw, what am I saying? Where they won the title. It was the week before. And it was the program they didn't seem like it was going to be anything long lasting. It was like Jordan came out and he was whining and doing his character. And I actually don't mind. I think now that they're kind of turning him heel and he started reminiscent of his dad, his kayfabe dad, angle in his earlier days, and he thinks he's a face, but everyone is and I actually like what they're doing with Jordan individually. But really it seemed like they were gearing him more towards going against Samoa Joe long term or even Reigns long term. It really just felt like that night thing, him with Ambrose and Rollins. And I think obviously Ambrose being injured threw a wrench in that. But I feel like there were better ways to handle that than to smush these guys together and have them win the title. Because what they're doing now is really weird. I don't get it. It's 2 weeks, when I saw them live, which is 2-3 weeks ago, Seth hated Jordan. I had literally I was sitting front row. I was lucky enough to sit front row. Shit, on the USA Network. But it's I was sitting front row and I was like, Seth, this guy's a schmuck. And we had a conversation about how Jason Jordan was a schmuck with Seth Rollins in character. And it's we go from that to 3 weeks later. Now they're Jason, Seth, I like you, but I don't. You're my protege, I guess. It's weird. It feels like it was last minute and thrown together, and it's just in scrambles and in shambles, and I don't know, it doesn't click, and it feels really forced, and I'm really hoping the Bar is going to win, and I think the Bar is going to win. Because Sheamus and Cesaro were great. It was something that no one wanted, no one liked, and they have rejuvenated each other's careers and had some stellar 5-star match of the year candidate bouts over the past 1.5 to 2 years. They are the standard bearers of the Raw Tag Team division, just like the Usos served that purpose for SmackDown. And yeah, we got to end this. We got to nix it. I can't bring this to WrestleMania or even Fastlane as far as I'm concerned. So in my opinion, the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro winning this thing. What do you think, Jason?
100%. The Bar all the way. I don't see Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins winning. I mean, yeah, like you said, I don't want them anywhere near WrestleMania. I just don't see them building Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan in a program together for WrestleMania. I think Seth Rollins deserves better than that, and Jason Jordan, there shouldn't be anywhere near Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. He should be in the mid card somewhere, building him up maybe in the Intercontinental title picture or something.
Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I'd be fine with.
Like that. Yes, exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I mean, this could be a good thing for Jason Jordan because Ambrose got injured and now he's sort of taking his place, I guess, in a way, where he's feeding off of Ambrose's injury and is building him up.
Which is weird because he's like the honorary member of the Shield, and it doesn't make sense. It's like, I don't know if it's going to continue into Raw or if it was just like a one-night thing because they wanted to do Balor Club versus Shield, and that was the closest they could get to it. But it's like, I don't want to see him like carrying the bags of Seth and Roman, and every week he'd just be like, hey guys, we're the Shield, and every week the joke to be Roman and Seth being like, because it was funny, but it was funny because we hate Jason Jordan. Hate's a strong word, but like we don't like Jason Jordan being in the spot he's in right now, and I just don't want them to elongate it, and I kind of fear they're going to, but
I know, yeah, and they're just throwing him into too many things at the moment, Jason Jordan. Like, he was with Samoa Joe one stage, then he's facing Roman Reigns one week, then he's facing Seth Rollins one week. He's in too much at the moment for me, like too much spots for Jason Jordan at the moment, and I just hoping they push him back a little bit because he's getting too much in the spotlight for too early at this stage. So yeah, like I said, I just see the Bar winning, and they should be the Raw Tag Team Champions going into WrestleMania. Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan.
I think the biggest thing with Jason Jordan, the best explanation of what Jason Jordan is, there's a podcast, The New Age Insiders. They're local to New England, but they have a pretty large fan base around the world, and I'm a pretty avid listener of them. And the main host, one of the main hosts, Jason Maltov, was saying, Jason Jordan needs something that works, except he had something that works, and it's called American Alpha, and they ended that for no reason. And I think that just says it all.
100% agree with you. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But yes, we both agree that the Bar's winning. So those are the two tag team title matches that we're covering for the Royal Rumble. The next match would be the United States Championship Tournament Final, which still hasn't been officially announced yet, but I believe we've got two matches left. I think it's Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley. And then Jinder Mahal versus Xavier Woods, I believe, which are the two semi-final matches. And whoever wins both those matches will go to the final at the Royal Rumble. Jordan, who do you think is going to advance to the final?
I think that it is safe to assume that we're going to get Bobby Roode and Jinder. I think they are high on Mojo to an extent, but not to the point where they want to put him in that big a program. I think they don't want to accept that the Jinder experiment is 100% failed. And so they are going to try to still keep him in title contention and still keep him as, they're not going to send him back to a jobber, let's say. I think they're still going to kind of try to keep him as legitimate as they can for as long as possible. And also, I don't think it's going to be Xavier Woods either. And so, yeah, I think just because he's part of a team and it just doesn't really make sense. He's barely even wrestles. He's mostly like the side guy doing the trombone and then acting like more of a manager role. So I definitely see Bobby Roode. He's popular. He sells a lot of merch. His theme is 100% over. He's a good wrestler. He's a great wrestler. So I think it's going to be Bobby and Jinder, and I think Roode's going to win. I hope Roode's going to win at least.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I think it'll be Bobby versus Jinder at the Royal Rumble in the final. Yeah, I hope Bobby Roode wins. I think he will win the United States title at some point. I mean, it's a toss-up between Bobby Roode and Jinder. I think those two, yeah, as mentioned, will probably win. I don't really mind if Jinder wins as long as he's nowhere near the WWE title match. Yes, that's all that I care about. So I don't really mind who wins here, but I would like to see Bobby Roode win the US title at the Royal Rumble. I think it would be a good first big win for him, and yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he's a great talent. I think he did great stuff at NXT. I've been watching him in TNA basically since I started watching wrestling. For a while, one of the best matches, if not the best match I'd ever seen, was a tag match of him and James Storm versus the Motor City Machine Guns. He's a fantastic wrestler. He's had a great career. I'm glad he's finally in the WWE, and it would really be a cool, 20-plus year arc for him to finally win, not the big one, but a WWE championship. And so that's what I'm hoping for.
Absolutely, and yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't won a title on the main roster already. Like, it's been a good run for him in the NXT, but now it's time to prove himself on the main roster, and I think the US title is the big first leap for him to go into the main roster. So it's very exciting times for him for Bobby Roode.
I would agree. Jason, let me just say you're kind of going in and out with your pictures, so you might want to just refresh the camera so the lovely people at home can see you. But in the meantime, what do we have next?
My apologies. Let me.
No worries.
Going on here. Camera problem. Okay, I do apologize about that.
It is okay.
Give me a moment.
Technical difficulties. It happens in the world. And meanwhile, guys, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on delay, as I said, slap a like, slap a subscribe to me and Jason. It helps us. It motivates us. It makes us want to do this for as long as we can and keep it going for as long as we can. And also, let us know, whether it be in the live chat or in the comment section below, what you think. Who do you think is going to win the Rumble? Who do you think are going to win these Rumble matches? What are your early WrestleMania predictions? We'd love to hear them. Tweet them at us. We'll give you a subscribe, a follow, what have you. So we're excited for that. Jason, are you there, my friend? We may have lost Jason, guys.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, guys.
No worries, my man.
I'm trying to fix the camera. It says it doesn't detect the camera for some reason.
That is okay. The show must go on. If we don't see you, we don't see you. We can hear you clear as day. So that, that's better than nothing.
Exactly, yes. So we'll be back now. Let's continue on to what do we have next? Let's go to the WWE title match on SmackDown Live. We've got AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a 2-on-1 handicap match for the WWE title. This still, I don't know, it seems very, very strange to me that they put this as a handicap match. They couldn't have just added as a triple threat, because we still know it's going to be like a handicap match, even if it was a triple threat match technically. So I don't know why they had to make it technically a handicap match, but I don't know. Who do you say winning this one?
I definitely think it's going to be AJ. I think you'll understand that more when we get to my predictions for the actual Rumble match and my early WrestleMania predictions, but yeah, I think it's going to be AJ. I don't really see Kevin or Sami winning. I suppose they could have one of them, like they could have Kevin win and then Sami later on MMA wins the Royal Rumble. But I feel like they won't necessarily do that since it's a handicap match. I could see that happening more if it was just AJ versus Sami or AJ versus Kevin. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Kevin and Sami have their own storyline with Daniel Bryan and Shane that they are going to blow off during WrestleMania season, and so they don't really have time or energy to spend on the WWE Championship or AJ Styles, and I have pretty big hopes and plans and hype, I guess you could say, for AJ. So yeah, I think AJ is definitely retaining. I hope it's a good match. And can I just say, I think it's crazy that at the Royal Rumble we're getting Kevin Steen and El Generico versus AJ Styles for the WWE title. It was a match that was decided by Bryan Danielson. It's like Ring of Honor's taking over. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I know. If only Daniel Bryan was an active wrestler, that would have made it even better. We could have had a fatal four-way match. I mean,
Jason, are you a fan of Daniel Bryan or something, man? I don't know.
I mean, could be. It's he was only my favorite wrestler of the entire world years ago.
He's saying that you're going to be seeing more of him. I mean, he's expected to wrestle by the end of the year, so let's hope.
I just hope it's in WWE. I would love to see him make a WWE return, but I'm guessing he's going to the Indies. But anyway, we're going back to the AJ Styles match. I agree with you once again. I think AJ will win somehow. I don't know how he'll pull it off. Maybe they'll have a Shane O'Mac interference or something like that would lead to an AJ Styles win. But yeah, I just don't see how Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will win and become co-WWE champions, as they were saying that they were going to be. It's just something that's been right that will happen. So I 100% agree that AJ Styles will win and hopefully take the title into WrestleMania. And I think I know which path you're heading towards for that, and I think I will agree with you on that one.
And can I just say, you say co-champions, that... You remember back in like 2011 when Layla and Michelle McCool were a thing, and they had the women's title, and they like split it down the middle, so they each had like half of the title. I just imagine Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn doing that, and like I'm kind of like feeling like Vince would do that just as a goof, as a gag, as a meme, and I'm kind of hoping he doesn't, but like a small evil part of me is hoping he does, just to see what that would look like. But yeah, AJ's winning it.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, the New Day were similar in that respect, where they were co-tag team champions, you know, the two of them holding it.
Like, yeah, like the Freebird rule or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, the Freebird rule, exactly, yeah. So I just, you know, I don't see the main title as being held by two people. It's just, it doesn't sound right, and it shouldn't, sort of disrespecting the title in a way, because it's like the main championship should be for one person only, the hardest working person on that roster at that time. So I don't think it should be held for two people.
Hey, dude, you know what else disrespects the title and doesn't sound right? Jinder Mahal as WWE champion.
Couldn't agree with you more. That was the most horrifying 200-odd days of my life, watching Jinder Mahal as the WWE champion. Never again, hopefully. But yes, both of us are going with AJ Styles. I think we've gone for pretty much the same outcome for each match, haven't we?
Pretty much, yeah.
The card at the moment, but now we'll go to the Universal title match. We've got the triple threat, a huge triple threat match. Brock Lesnar defending against Braun Strowman and Kane.
I want it to be Braun. I love Braun. I think he's awesome, and I never thought I would say that 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago. It's not. Ever since last year, I think it was the day after WrestleMania 33, like during the Raw after, that like every credible source there was like, the match we're gonna get is Roman Reigns and Brock for the Universal title. Brock's gonna keep it for a year, and it's gonna bring us there. And they've been building that up. Heyman talked about it in his promo that night, saying, you know, only two men that have beaten The Undertaker. That leaves you and Brock, Roman. There's unfinished business from 2 years ago, Roman. Yeah, Brock wouldn't have held it that long unless they wanted him. Brock's not going to hold it for, you know, 9. They're not going to go 90% all in. They're going to go all in. They're not going to have him lose it before he has held it for a year. They're going to have him hold it for a year, even though none of us necessarily want to see it. And he's not going to lose to Braun at Mania. He's not going to lose to Finn. He's going to lose it to Roman in the match that we all know is coming. And I don't like it, but I've accepted it, and I hope that I can enjoy the ride as much as possible. But yeah, there is no way that I think we're getting a new champion. The only time I had a flicker of hope was SummerSlam, and even sort of the No Mercy match with Braun, but they've shown that they're not willing to, or rather that they're willing to have Braun take a clean pin. So they've already done that once. They've already had him lose in a multi-man situation once. Kane's going to take the pin. Brock's going to move on to Mania. It's one of the most predictable things I've ever seen. But hopefully it's a good match. But Brock, easy, far away. I would bet all the money in the world on that.
Once again, I agree with you. Once again, Brock Lesnar to win this one. I do want Braun Strowman to win. I think he should have won at No Mercy as like a new, fresh change for the Universal title picture. So I don't know what Braun Strowman will do towards WrestleMania if he doesn't win the WWE title now. But I still, yeah, like I said, Roman's bound to win this at WrestleMania, and we're going to get Lesnar and Roman for sure. I think for sure. So unless they pull one out of the hat. But yes, I agree. It should be a really good match, though. I think it will be a really explosive match, this one, with the build-up that they've had. You know, they've done all this sort of crazy stunts in the backstage area and all these sort of things. So
I'm just curious, over the past year or whatever, how long it's been, how much money they've spent on Braun between breaking ambulances and stuntmen and tearing down, you know, metal structures. I feel like they've definitely put a lot of money into Braun with all this destruction that he's caused, you know?
Absolutely. But the thing is, they're not really capitalizing it 100% to their advantage. Like, he should be the champion, like, you know, right up there. He's the main event superstar on Raw, but he needs to be the champion at some stage, hopefully soon. But yeah, I still think Brock Lesnar's going to win. I think it'll be a clean victory as well for Brock, and that will take him to WrestleMania against Roman.
I couldn't agree more.
Alrighty, now we've got the two big matches, the two Royal Rumble matches, and yes, I'm saying two Royal Rumble matches. This is unbelievable. The first
so cool.
Women's Royal Rumble. I never thought this would be possible, but we're actually
5
getting.
5 years ago, they were still having bikini mud matches that were lasted 2 minutes. Like, you know.
I know, and we had like the likes of Beth Phoenix in the Rumble, you know, during the Men's Rumble, and then
Karma, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what if this actually happens to be a Women's Royal Rumble match one day? I mean, none of us saw this coming, but here we are today in Philly. It's going to be the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. Let's talk about that one first, because I'm actually more excited for the Women's Rumble, to be honest.
Your girls, man, Sasha and Bayley.
Sasha and Bayley, yes. If you guys saw me now, I saw me before anyway. I was wearing the Bayley headbands, the Sasha glasses. They are my two favorites indeed. But yeah, like I said, the first ever, and this is a 30 women Rumble match. It's not 20, it's 30 women in this one, which I think, Jordan, you sent out a tweet a few weeks ago saying you were in disagreement of this.
Yeah, and it's nothing against the woman. It's not to say that I don't think that they could do a 30-woman match, but they're like that they couldn't entertain. I just think the Rumble as it is draining. It's a long match. It's entertaining, it's fun, we love it, but it's tiring, you know? It takes a lot out of you. And even if you have it at two ends of the show, like the women's match starts it and the men's match ends it, I still think the pay-per-views are long. It's going to be like a 6-hour thing anyway with the pre-show. 6, 7, 8 hours. It's crazy. And I just don't want it to be dragged down by that, because I know they can kick ass, but I don't want it to be just okay because it's you know, drawn out a little. And honestly, that's not even the fault of the girls, because they could have, you know, the best match in the card, but if it's coupled with the guys' match, 2 Rumble matches in one night, and the girls' match drags a little bit, in the end, people are going to be assholes, and they're going to say, you know, oh, this is why we shouldn't have another Women's Royal Rumble match. And I just think equality doesn't mean things being identical. You know what I mean? It's not. There are 20 active women on the main roster, not counting the 2 champions, who I assume aren't going to be in the match. And so if you have 30 people, that means you're going to have 10 surprise entrants. So not only will it make the show as a whole feel a little longer and drain people out a little more, but also I feel like it'll take the weight out of surprise entrants. I assume we're going to get like a Trish and Lita. We'll get into that in a little bit. But like, if we get Trish and Lita and Jacqueline and Beth Phoenix and Alundra Blaze and China, we're not going to get China. And, you know, and Molly Holly and Victoria and so on and so forth, then Trish and Lita just aren't going to feel as special. They're just not. There's just not the depth. And that's, again, not a judgment on the talent or the ability of the woman. They're fantastic. It's just saying it's the lay of the land right now. So, no, I don't know that if I was in the same position, I would have necessarily agreed with it. But I also don't think it means the match is going to suck. And I'm hoping that I'm proven wrong and that I'm pleasantly surprised. And regardless, I think it's going to be historical and kick-ass, and I am ecstatic for it.
I 100% agree with you. This may very well steal the show, I think. There's going to be, I think, more surprise entrances in this women's match than the men's match. And I always like surprise entrances. I mean, everybody likes some surprises along the way during the Royal Rumble. Of course, it's what it's most famous for, the Royal Rumble. Anybody can enter. So it's very, very exciting at the possibilities of who will be like surprise entrances, especially for the women's match. You know, you've got like tons and tons of former female wrestlers. You got like, I don't even want to go through the list, but you've got like Michelle McCool, Eve Torres, Kelly, all this sort of
Karma. How awesome would that be?
Oh yeah, can you imagine Karma and Nia Jax, or Karma and Tamina Snuka, or something like that? I mean, there's just so many possibilities. You can have Alexa and Trish or something. You know, Who knows?
Alexa, I like
Alexa's not in
I
this match.
must be. I like to describe it as Alexa is the modern day Trish. She's the small girl. She's not perfect in the ring, but her character work and facial expressions are amazing. And she's like a megastar already. And she's like, what, like 23 or something? It's crazy.
Yeah, but I just remember Alexa's the actual women's champion, so she probably won't be in the Royal Rumble match. But yes.
But hey, a lot can change. Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins are tag champions. And I told you that was going to happen 2 weeks ago. You probably would have called me cuckoo, but you know.
Yeah. No, exactly right. Anything can happen. It's the WWE. Never say never. So, geez, I don't know where to start with this one, but I'll go through the confirmed entrants at the moment. We've got 17 confirmed women's wrestlers in the Rumble at the moment. We've got Asuka. We've got the Riot Squad, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. We've got Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, Bayley, Naomi, Natalya, Paige, and the Absolution, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Tamina Snuka, Lana, Carmella, and Becky Lynch. Wow.
Who do you got and why?
Damn, this is so tough. This is so tough, but I see, I don't know. I see either 3 people winning right now.
Think with your head, not your heart, Jason. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
No, yes. I would like to see a Sasha or a Bayley win, but I don't think that's the way that's going to be. But I see 3 women winning at this point. One would be Asuka. The other one, I actually kind of see Paige winning, to be honest. I don't know. I think it would be a fresh new victory for her and to really, you know, establish the Absolution stable, which, mind you, I really am liking the Absolution stable right now. I think it's a great mix with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. I'm really impressed by Sonya Deville as well, which she's doing really well.
Yeah, I am. I really like it a lot myself. I guess, you know, my biggest thing is Absolution makes sense. Yes, it's 2 random NXT girls who are kind of different characters, but they have the connection with Tough Enough. Paige is a host in Tough Enough. They were both in that season of Tough Enough. I don't understand the Riot Squad. I'm going to be honest. I like Ruby Riott a lot. Had an interaction with Liv Morgan that, you know, I'll get into later, but she's cool, I guess. I don't know Sarah Logan. I don't see why they're doing the same gimmick on the same shows. They have a goth chick leading a pretty blonde and a badass on Raw, and then on SmackDown they have a goth chick leading a pretty blonde and a badass on SmackDown. And the difference is it works on Raw and it just doesn't on SmackDown. Not just because it's a carbon copy, but also because they have nothing in common. And also Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan are a lot more experienced, just as far as the character department and the wrestling department, and it just doesn't work for me. I don't know what their end game is. Yeah,
no. If I was to choose either one of those 2 stables, Absolution would be 100% the better stable. But yeah, maybe one day we'll get a Absolution versus Riot Squad Survivor Series match, maybe. But yeah, so for me, it's either Asuka, Paige, or this may very well happen. It's a surprise entrant, and I think Ronda Rousey may very well make an appearance in the Rumble and win it all. That is my prediction.
Yeah, that's a bold one. I definitely see this possibility because we've heard a lot of reports of negotiations and of Ronda at the Performance Center. Her UFC career has really been on the decline in the past 6 months, year or so. So I would lean more towards Rousey because, you know, WWE loves mainstream publicity. They would love to be, you know, the banner story on CNN. UFC fighter Ronda Rousey makes it to the WWE and wins the big one. And I hope they don't. I wouldn't mind seeing Ronda in there, but they built Asuka up so much as the unstoppable badass in NXT. They gave her that 1 title reign. They had her have awesome matches. They had her crush everyone. And they're just starting to do it on Raw, and they don't always get NXT call-ups right. They usually don't get NXT call-ups right. And they're doing Asuka the way they should. And I just hate the, you know, the lure of mainstream publicity to have to make them, you know, have Ronda overshadow Asuka and put her ahead. I don't know if Ronda will come. I know there's been a lot of reports of it, but I also know she's filming a movie. But if she does come, I hope she kicks ass and eliminates a lot of the Dana Brookses and the Lanas with ease and has a great, long, strong showing. But I hope they do something where it's like 10 women all team up to throw her out at once, and so she looks dominant and doesn't win it. So I like Ronda, and I'd love to see her in the company, but I hope she doesn't win. I agree with you. I think it's going to be Asuka. I think that they have such, you know, dominant thing that they build up, such a special thing. And even though they're usually not great about taking care of special things that they built up in NXT for whatever reason, we have no reason to believe, based on the way she's been built up since coming up, that they wouldn't. So yeah, just pull the trigger, man. Let her. I know that it won't impact her winning streak because we still say she's undefeated, even though Eva Marie eliminated her in a battle royal and she's lost tag matches. So it's not that. It's just like, it's time. It's time, and have her win it. You can keep Alexa or Paige or whoever champion for a little while longer, but like, it's time. She's over. She's great, and this is the perfect way to permanently cement her as the Empress of Tomorrow. So yeah, in my mind, Asuka's got to win it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I mean, it was hard for me to choose just one winner because it's like those are my three options there. But you sort of convinced me now towards Asuka, and I think Ronda Rousey, yeah, I can see her winning, but at the same time, yeah, you can still make her look strong, but have her be eliminated by like 10 women. And they may even bring in Shayna Baszler from NXT and have that whole MMA.
Four horsewoman or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. They might bring them in, and then they'll have like them being dominant, and then they'll have maybe Absolution go up against them, and then the entire women's division will go up against them and throw them out.
What I would like to see is it's Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, and one more girl. I think it's Roddy Strong's wife, and then there's the fourth one. I don't really follow UFC or mixed martial arts all that much, but I would love to see, honestly, all of them come in just because I think it's mass market appeal and it would be something fresh and new. And how awesome would it be to see the UFC 4 horsewomen versus Sasha, Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte, the NXT 4 horsewomen?
Absolutely.
And they tease it kind of at the Royal Rumble, but I would love to see that. Not necessarily at Mania, but just somewhere down the line. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and they can definitely set the tone and do a few little hints at the Royal Rumble with this little they could have like a stare off or something. And
yeah, exactly.
I think that was really one of those real Royal Rumble moments, especially for the first women's Rumble ever. You want to make it as impactful as possible, and I think doing that would really make it like one of the highlights of the Rumble. It'll be interesting to see what Nia Jax does. She's another like real dominant women's wrestler that can make a real impact in this match.
I don't see her winning, and it sucks, but I just don't.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard with Nia Jax because she does deserve the Raw Women's title at some stage, if not already. But yeah, I just don't know what they're doing with her and Enzo at the moment. It's like, I don't know what they're doing.
It's kind of funny, but it's more just weird, and I feel like a waste of Nia's talent. It's like, it's chuckle-worthy, but it's also like, what's the joke here? She big and he's small, but they like each other. It's like, okay, but like, she's all supposed to be like this monster, and her talking about bringing chicken noodle soup to the certified G doesn't really make me feel that. I don't know.
Yeah, she's changed. Like, they've changed her character just drastically since she first debuted, like, as this monster heel, and now she's this caring, loving person bringing soup to Enzo Amore. Of all people, Enzo Amore, like, come on.
Yeah, and this, like, mean, she also, like, gossips and, like, has this weird thing with Alexa Bliss. I don't know.
Yeah, but so we're both going with Asuka again. We're in agreement with this as well. So I think
I bet you will be in agreement for the men's Rumble too.
I haven't really thought about the men's Rumble, but we'll get into that right now. The men's 30-man Royal Rumble match. Let me get the lineup here. Where are we? Men's Rumble. Okay. So this is another interesting one. Like I said, I'm not as excited for this as the women's match because it is the first women's Rumble ever. They've got to make it impactful as possible, but it'll be interesting to see who wins here. Let's go through the confirmed entrances at the moment. We've got 11 confirmed so far on WWE.com. We've got John Cena, Finn Balor, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Elias, Baron Corbin, Woken Matt Hardy, Samoa Joe, Bray Wyatt, Aiden English, and Rusev. Rusev Day is in the Royal
Rusev Day, dude! I tell you, my ears have not popped as hard as they did when I was at Clash of Champions, and Rusev and English came out. Like, that was one of the loudest pops I've ever been there for. And I've been at WrestleManias. I've been there when Diesel came back at the Rumble, when Punk joined the Nexus, when Santino won the U.S. title. Loudest pop, by far the loudest pop I've ever heard.
Can you imagine if Rusev wins the Royal Rumble?
Oh, I hope so, man.
Can you imagine that pop that he will get? Oh my goodness, that's funny.
I would die. I would die. And I mean, here's the thing. It sounds silly, but like, he's a comedic character, but he's also like a great wrestler, and he's proven that he can be a badass and be legitimate. And so, like, it would work. They're not gonna do it in a million years, but it would be awesome.
Exactly, and he'll get the same pop that he did a few years ago when it was Roman and Rusev, the final two, the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
But yes, so I don't know who. I haven't really thought about this too much. So Jordan, I'm going to let you start off again.
Right.
Who do you see winning, or who are your possible winners for this Royal Rumble match? Yes.
Absolutely, Nakamura, all the way. He's fantastic. He's a fantastic talent. He's over as hell. He sells merchandise. The crowd loves him. He puts on great matches. And even though he hasn't been treated necessarily as well as I think people would have hoped for or dreamt of on the main roster, I think that it's his time. AJ's got the championship, and the dream match is Shinsuke versus AJ in a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom 9. They're fantastic wrestlers. There's chemistry in the story there, and they've been building it ever since Money in the Bank. I don't know how many backstage segments we've seen where they've been like, hey, Shinsuke, we're a tag team tonight. What are your strategy? And Shinsuke's just like, oh, I want the belt. But yeah, I definitely see that happening, especially since it's pretty much set in stone that Brock is gonna face Roman over in Raw for the Universal title. I really don't see a Raw guy winning it. I think it's a SmackDown guy, and who better than Shinsuke for the dream match that everyone would want? That would kick ass. That would be a 5-star match. I think it's going to be Shinsuke, and if not Shinsuke, I think it also might be Cena, because people have been saying Cena needs his 17th world title when he's not going to be around forever. He's closer to retirement now than he ever has been. And so I think it's going to be Shinsuke. I'm setting that, and I really want that. But I also think there is a chance. It's like 90-10, 85-15. I think there's a chance they could do Cena just because they need to do the world title win sooner rather than later. And who better than AJ, where he's had arguably the best matches of his career against. So yeah, I like Cena. I've always liked Cena. He's been one of my favorites since I started watching. I hope it isn't him though, because it's not his time, and the people would be pissed again after the Rumble, and it just wouldn't be good. What would be good is Shinsuke Nakamura. It would be awesome, and I can't wait. What about you, my man?
I once again, 100%. I think Shinsuke is one of the top picks for me to win the whole thing and face AJ Styles for the title at WrestleMania. I think that's a dream match that everyone wants to see, and I think they are heading in that direction for WrestleMania. Another SmackDown guy to win. Where last year, I think Randy Orton won the title. Another SmackDown guy won the Royal Rumble, so they'll have another SmackDown guy win again, I think, and challenge AJ Styles for the title at WrestleMania. If not Shinsuke, I kind of am leaning towards, this may shock some people, Finn Balor, I think, might be a good Raw guy to win the match. Perhaps instead of Roman, challenge Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I think that would be a fairly unique match.
I would love it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I know. It's hard to see it happening.
I could also see, sorry to interrupt you, but I could also see Finn go over to SmackDown and Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. AJ, that'd be pretty great.
That would be cool, absolutely. Whoever wins becomes the leader of the Bullet Club. Who knows? That would be cool. But yeah, it's nice to think about Finn Balor winning and shocking everyone, perhaps, and challenging Brock Lesnar with the title at WrestleMania. But yeah, I think the logical choice is Shinsuke Nakamura and have that AJ Styles Nakamura dream match at WrestleMania. I think that's where they're heading in that direction.
Well, that about does it for the Rumble, my man.
Yes. Wow, there you go. The Rumble is... predictions are over there with that respect.
And it only cost us 40 minutes and your camera breaking. And we're
exactly, which I'm still trying to resolve. I'm trying to figure out how to get this damn camera to work again, but
absolutely. You got to try again. But I say, without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's move on to our early WrestleMania predictions.
Yes, so we're heading towards it'll be before. I think there's the Elimination Chamber and the Fastlane pay-per-views in between WrestleMania.
Elimination Chamber is Raw and Fastlane is SmackDown this year, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's the way they're going. Yeah, it's hard to see which way they would go for the chamber. I mean, it's really hard because it's still so early to say who's going to be in the chamber and who's going to be in the main event for that match and things like that. Who knows? It's really hard. I haven't really thought about it too much.
How about this? How about we start? Let's go straight into WrestleMania, straight into New Orleans, the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
What do you think's gonna happen with the Universal title? Let's get it out of the way. Like I said, I think it's fairly obvious. It's gonna be Roman and Brock. Brock would have lost the title already. If he was gonna lose it, they're gonna go all the way. And Roman's their golden boy, and they're too stubborn to not have Roman get another moment in the sun to raise his hand at the end of the biggest show, even though people are gonna hate it, and it's gonna leave a sour taste in everyone's mouth. There's a reason that it's as obvious as it is. You know, every credible source has been saying it. And it just logistically looks like the way it's going to go. So absolutely, I think we're getting Roman versus Brock for the Universal title. Would you say the same for Mania?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the two matches that we discussed already, the two main title matches, I think were pretty much 99% confirmed for WrestleMania.
Yeah, same with Shinsuke and AJ for the title, even though, you know, it's not, you know, people don't dislike it as much. It's not quite as controversial, but it's still pretty predictable. But yeah, Shinsuke and AJ, I think, is set in stone too.
Yeah, it's one thing saying, you know, you actually want to see this match, and then on the other side of the coin, you got a match that you really don't want to see. So it's like they're both predictable, but there's one match that you want to see, there's one match that you don't want to see. So it's a bit hard in that respect. But I think those two matches are definitely pretty solid, confirmed for the Mania card. What do we got next? We've got
the Intercontinental title. What do we think?
Yes.
Intercontinental title.
So here's the thing. I think The Miz will win it back. I think it's The Miz versus Roman at the 25th anniversary of Raw. No doubt The Miz will win it back. Roman will drop the title and then focus himself onto the Universal title picture at the Rumble. And
it's going to be Miz versus The Miz-Taraj in a triple threat match.
That would be interesting, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I hope not.
No, I hope not anyway. I would love to see The Miz in a more prominent position at WrestleMania. I think he really deserves it. He's been one of my absolute favorites, I think, in the entire company in terms of the male.
He's had a fantastic couple of years.
Absolutely. Years for him. And, you know, if it wasn't for Brock, I think he really should. The Miz should be the Universal Champion. I think he really deserves it. And he could have a decent run with the title again. But, I mean, logic says that we're going to get the Intercontinental Championship match with The Miz. Who he's going to face? Maybe a Seth Rollins? I mean, Miz versus Jason Jordan again? I hope not, but I don't know. I think it's going to be Rollins somehow in the he's got to do something. I mean, for Rollins, I really can't see anything else for him. Maybe a match with not with Triple H again, but you know, someone
Jason
like
Jordan?
What was that?
Jason Jordan?
Jason Jordan, yeah, but it's for me, it's not that. I think Miz and Rollins would be a better option than Rollins.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see Miz and Rollins. I think they'd tear the house down, but I don't think that's going to happen. Actually, on the other hand, I think it's going to be Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins. I don't want to see it. Like I said, I think the whole thing's stupid and burned together and forced and rushed and all the bad words. But I think it's going to happen. I don't see a bunch of pictures, though. I don't see any other logical conclusion to this. I don't think, you know, that they'll wrap it up at Elimination Chamber. I just don't. It's the way this company works. I think they're too high on Jason Jordan, and they're hoping that a great performance at WrestleMania will cement him. I guess all I can hope for is that he turns heel and he doesn't stay with Roman and Seth and do this cringy, we're the Shield, right, guys? Kind of thing. So I think it's going to be Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins in a grudge match. Maybe Jordan will cost Seth the title at the Rumble. Who knows? But that is the direction I think we're going. But as far as the Intercontinental title, I don't think Miz is going to win it back. I think Samoa Joe's going to win it back. I think he'll win some Battle Royal, some #1 contenders match thing. I know he's like supposedly injured right now, but I do think that at some point Joe wins it back because there's the history with him and Roman, and they had a great match. And yeah, he lost clean, but he could easily make a case. He could, you know, win a match or say, well, such a great match, and they could write something in where, you know, he earns it because of this clause. It wouldn't be hard to find another scenario where those guys have another match, and I think Joe's going to take it. I think he deserves it. I think he'd be a great standard bearer of the upper echelon of the mid-card. And I actually think Joe's going to face Cena because they planted the seeds when Cena first went to Raw as a free agent, if you'll remember last year. And I think it was like Miz and Joe versus Roman and Cena, and you had that stare down and that little confrontation and that little tease of Joe and Cena. And just this past week on Raw, if you remember, Joe was being interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and she was saying, "You're in the Rumble. What do you think is going to happen? You have in this match, there's all these wrestlers. There's Randy Orton. There's John Cena." And Joe said, "John Cena, I'm going to beat John Cena's ass." And I feel like if they're not going to have a match between Joe and Cena, that's kind of a weird, out-of-place thing to say. And so, yeah, I totally think Joe and Cena is the way we're going. And I also think while we're on the subject, it's going to be Rollins and Jordan.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good choice. I like the Joe and Cena match. I think that would absolutely steal the show. And it would remind me a lot of the Cena and Styles sort of feud that they had.
Yeah, he's getting through everyone in TNA. Styles, Joe, then all left is Bobby Roode and Eric Young, and he's got it, man.
Exactly, yeah. No, look, I kind of agree with you on that one with Joe and Cena. I think that would be a good option to go with, especially with John Cena, since he's really, he's got to be involved with WrestleMania somehow. It's not like he can't be involved in WrestleMania, so he's got to have someone to face. A lot of people are saying John Cena versus The Undertaker, which I hope to God isn't the way that they go, because Undertaker should have really he's had his last match last year at WrestleMania.
He did the thing with the coat, and then he sunk in the ground. I was watching with friends. They're not really wrestling fans, but they came over and we had ordered food and made a party kind of thing out of it. And I was emotional at the Undertaker, and they were like, "Why are you being emotional at this old fat man going into the ground?" And I was like, "You don't get it. He's a legend. It's a beautiful moment." And as much as Cena and Undertaker is a dream match, Undertaker proved in that match with Reigns that he's not at his prime. And yeah, maybe he feels like he can do one more, but it's you had 25 Mania matches, dude. 25. There are 34 Manias total. That's 90%, 92%, something crazy like that. You are a legend. You are arguably quite possibly the greatest wrestler of all time. You have nothing left to prove. If anything, you're going to taint your legacy by coming back, especially because you'll be ruining what was a beautiful send-off. Say what you will about that match, but that moment at the end was one of the greatest endings to any WrestleMania, any WWE event, any pro wrestling event, any spectacle that there ever has been. And I would hate to see Undertaker come back and spoil that. But yeah. Cena and Joe. And Rollins and Jordan, even if I dislike it.
Yeah. That's very possible as well. Speaking of Jason Jordan, I think obviously being a kayfabe son of Kurt Angle, Kurt Angle I think will have a match at WrestleMania. And
I agree. Who do you think he's going to face?
I think he's definitely facing Triple H at WrestleMania. I think that's what's bound to happen. And they teased it at Survivor Series with Triple H pedigreeing him during the match. But I think it's destined to be Triple H versus Kurt Angle, perhaps having Kurt Angle's job on the line in this match or something like that. Maybe
we'll get the authority again.
Yeah, and then we'll get it again. No, please no. But I think honestly they would have a kick-ass match at WrestleMania, those two. Perhaps maybe they'll add a stipulation to that match or something like that. But I think Kurt Angle's really good to go still. He can give a really solid match still at his age, and I think they can go all the way, perhaps maybe 30 to 40-minute match. Who knows?
Well, I 100% agree. I think for a while I was like, why isn't Kurt going to face a younger guy? But especially after the performances at TLC and Survivor Series, I don't think he's done, by a long shot. And so I definitely think it's going to be Triple H and Kurt Angle with Kurt's job on the line, and I think they're going to deliver. Even if it's a match we've seen before, I think with that added twist of it being 20 years later, it'll basically be the spectacle match that we're not getting with the Undertaker. Because every year, that's the nothing's really on the line necessarily, especially since the streak is over. But it's just this guy being so awesome and historic is a spectacle in and of itself. And so I think that's what we're going to get with Kurt and Triple H, because it's not necessarily going to be for a title. It's not necessarily going to steal the show, but it's a match that people who haven't watched in 15 years can come back and relate to. It'll sell the pay-per-view, and I think it'll be pretty good. So yeah, that's what I see as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. So I think perhaps maybe it might be the main event. Who knows? Yeah, it's hard to say at this stage, but yeah, that's a very solid match with Kurt Angle and Triple H. We'll continue the Raw thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
what about the U.S. title if we're going through championships?
The U.S. title.
Because we're talking about Bobby Roode and Jinder winning it at the Rumble. Do we see that playing in later? Or?
It's hard to say at this stage. They could perhaps maybe have another match at WrestleMania, like Bobby Roode versus Jinder again, but I don't see them holding that feud all the way until WrestleMania.
Will Ziggler come back maybe and do something with that, or?
That's very possible. Actually, I never thought about that. They could do a Ziggler versus Bobby Roode match at WrestleMania. It'll be interesting to see what reaction he would get upon returning, because that was really strange, him just leaving out of nowhere. And
I know some people are saying they think he's going to return at the Rumble and maybe even win. I don't think he'll win, but maybe he'll come back at the Rumble and have a strong showing there, like eliminate like Braun or someone like that, you know?
That would be an absolute shocker if that happens, if he actually won the whole thing. But yeah, that's a very, very real possibility for him to return. But I think if Bobby Roode was to win the title of the Royal Rumble in the final, I think he would face Rusev at WrestleMania.
Rusev Day!
I think that's a really good option if you want to. I mean, I know Rusev's already fought for the US title a number of times, but I think the Glorious One versus Rusev Day, I think it's a really good combination. I would like to see that. Two popular guys on the roster, and I don't know.
I agree that I think it'd be a fantastic match. I think there's a good story to be told. I think people would dig it because they're both popular. Absolutely. I don't necessarily think that's the way they're going to go. I think it's going to be Bobby Roode. Get ready for this one, okay? But it's going to be a fatal four-way for the U.S. title.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to be Bobby Roode as the U.S. champion. I think he's going to win it against Jinder at the Rumble and then hold it till Mania. I think he's going to face Dolph Ziggler, or returning Ziggler, who's going to be like, I had a strong showing in the Rumble to prove my point. I gave up my title to shock the world and make a star, and they're going to make some bullshit excuse for that. And so Ziggler will come back, and he'll have beef with Roode. And then I also think Ty Dillinger will get in there. This is kind of high hoping and be wishful thinking, I guess you could call it, because this is a match I really want to see, but I also think it's realistic. So, I'm still throwing it in here. So I think it's going to be Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler versus Ty Dillinger versus, get ready, this one's going to shock you, Mike Kanellis. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I think these guys are all fantastic wrestlers on their own right. Bobby Roode, glorious, great NXT career, great TNA career. Dolph Ziggler, standard bearer of the company, totally underrated, former world champion. Ty Dillinger, NXT fan favorite. Dark Horse, always be intended for a dark match. And even Mike Kanellis, he hasn't necessarily had the chance to prove in the WWE. But if you go back and watch his work in TNA or the Northeast Independents, he's a great talent. And if you really give him a chance to shine, that'll be perfect. And I think these guys are all similar in the sense that they're kind of beloved by the Smark crowd in their own way, that being Bobby, Ziggler, Ty, and Mike, in different levels, in different ways. They're kind of, I guess, grassroots favorites, you could say. And they all have a similar sort of, technical indie wrestling kind of style. So I think they could have a match that arguably stole the show. Do I think they'll do it as much as I think they'll do these other matches? No, it is wishful thinking, but I think it's a strong possibility, and I think it is the best option for the U.S. title. So fatal four-way, Kanellis, Dolph, Bobby, and Ty.
That's a very good option. Yeah, I've never really thought of that route, especially with Mike Kanellis. That's a real surprise. You shocked me there, Jordan.
And finally, there was so much, so much connection, so much synergy. I had to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I don't blame you. It's a really good. I think it would be a really good match, that one as well.
You mentioned Rusev. Yeah. I don't know if Rusev's going to be facing Bobby Roode, but I think Rusev might be in the tag title match. I think it's going to be Rusev and Aiden, just because they're really trying to push the both of those guys. Rusev and Aiden versus the Usos for the tag titles. I think we'll carry that all the way over, and I hope Rusev will win because I think he's so over, and I think he more than deserves it. I think Aiden English more than deserves it, and I think it would be cool to have the Usos continue their reign and the people to set them to be the most popular, worthy team. So I think it's going to be Team Rusev Day versus the Usos. What do you think of that, man?
That's actually another solid match. Yeah, that actually could be a more of a possibility than seeing Bobby Roode versus Rusev. But I think either one of those matches would be really, really good, especially for Rusev. If he was to win the tag team titles with Aiden English.
I hope so, man.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh my god, the WrestleMania.
It would grow the build, since it's a football stadium. If the place would grow a roof and then blow it off again, that's how big the reaction would be.
Exactly. That would be very, very interesting. But let's go on to, since we're on the SmackDown side as well, Shane McMahon. Do you see Shane McMahon having a role at WrestleMania?
I do. Like I said before, I don't think Kevin and Sami are going to win for a number of reasons. The main one being that they are so entangled with this Shane McMahon-Daniel Bryan feud. I think it's one of the main, if not the main things on SmackDown. And I think that it's going to be carried over to WrestleMania, and the blow-off will be at WrestleMania. I have a bold prediction, another one. I think it's going to be a tag match. I think it's going to be Kevin and Sami versus with Daniel Bryan in their corner, because I think he'll turn heel and be their sort of manager, versus Shane and Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Jericho is doing the stuff in New Japan with Kenny Omega. He recently attacked Naito, so there is going to be at least one more appearance for him. But the way it's turning out, it looks like that would be done in time for him to make a surprise return at the Rumble and then be a part of the SmackDown roster. He's made it very clear in interviews and tweets that he got Vince McMahon's permission, and Vince thought it was a great idea that he went to New Japan. So it's not like there's tension there, and like Vince is like, "You betrayed me! You betrayed me, Jericho!" So it's not like we have to worry about that. So yeah, I see there's a really strong possibility. I think it's going to be Shane versus Kale and Sami, because I don't think WWE's going to let Daniel wrestle. People are saying, but he needs to. Look at the way they're building the feud. No, he doesn't. He needed to face The Miz last year. That was really the only logical conclusion for that feud, with the program that they had at Talking Smack and the way they butted heads so consistently. But he didn't. He was just like, fight my brother and sister-in-law. and it's like WWE has shown that they're willing to do that, even if it's a little chicken shit and lame. But yeah, Shane's going to need a partner. I don't really see it being anyone on the main roster, only because everyone else who's sort of like worthy of that caliber of a match, of like teaming with the commissioner and fighting for the pride of SmackDown, is going to be busy. Like, what is it going to be, like friggin' like Mojo Rawley or Zack Ryder? I don't think so. So I think it's going to be Jericho and Shane. I think Jericho will make a return. People are saying Jericho has some Fozzy thing, but that could easily be changed, or they could do like a late flight or whatever, an early flight, to make that work. But yeah, I think bold, but I think it's going to be Jericho and Shane versus Kale and Sami. And if not that, Kale and Sami versus Shane and some other surprise or special, one night only return kind of thing. What about you? What do you think they're going to do with that?
Yeah, it's really tough, because a lot of people are saying, oh, they should do Shane O'Mac versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. But then it's like, yeah, it's very hard to see Daniel Bryan wrestling in WWE, like for them allowing him to wrestle.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we are in New Orleans, and New Orleans is where the famous city that Daniel Bryan won the WWE title a number of years ago in the main event. So
I think it's so funny that he's your favorite, and you decided to come to the year before, where we met the night after WrestleMania, where he had some like rando mid-card tag match where they won in like 6 minutes, and if you would just wait one more year, you want to see the streak broken and your favorite win in the main event. I just get a kick out of that.
I know. I'm still kicking my shoes at that thing that I wasn't there to see Daniel Bryan win the title. But I mean, nothing taken away from 29. I still got to see The Rock and Cena. That was still one of my favorites of all time.
And we met, so I mean, really.
Exactly. And this is, a lot of people might not like this, but for me, it was quite an accomplishment. Sitting in the same row as the current president of the United States.
We shook Donald Trump's hand, and that's just like, I tell people that, and they're like, no, you fucking didn't. And I'm like, he did. Like, and he was like a cordial guy. It was weird.
And I mean, at that time, who would have thought that he'd be the actual president of the United States?
But it would have even thought of running, let alone won, and then the crazy bastard he is.
But yeah, we're probably getting off track here. But yeah, look, Shane and Kevin Owens and Sami, I think they're probably my favorite part of SmackDown at the moment. Those two are absolutely amazing together. And they're a great team. The Yep movement is full force. I love it. I don't know. It's hard to see. I really still see Daniel Bryan wrestling though. I don't know why, but I think they're going to bring Daniel Bryan back for a wrestling match, maybe one last match, perhaps against Shane McMahon. But then where does that leave Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? I don't know. It's so tough. Maybe
think with your head, not your heart, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know. It's just so many possibilities because what's Randy Orton going to do? Maybe Randy Orton might get involved somehow. I mean, don't really see it happening, but
yeah, I actually have an interesting idea for a couple of interesting ideas for Orton, but go on.
Yeah, maybe it'll be. I don't know, it's really random. It's Shane O'Mac and Randy versus Kevin Owens and Sami. That's not really a great match that we want to see, but
maybe. I could very easily see it happening. You know.
Yeah. Knowing the WWE, they can definitely pull that off. But I don't know, man. I don't have a prediction at this stage. I'm gonna say I really don't know.
Fair enough. You don't have to. And, you bring up an interesting point with Orton because, like I said, I want that fatal forward, but in my heart of hearts, I know it's probably not going to happen. So if it doesn't, my backup plan, my backup hope prediction is Bobby Roode, the U.S. champion, putting his U.S. title on the line against Randy Orton. Orton doesn't have a lot to do. That's kind of a dream match. They both wrestle similar styles. They're both veterans. They're both more about what goes on in the ring than anything else. It would be Bobby's first big WrestleMania, and to beat a major veteran star like Randy Orton in a U.S. title match. I mean, that would be fantastic. It's the same path that John Cena had in his first WrestleMania. He faced a veteran in the big show and won the U.S. and, left with the U.S. title. He beat him with the U.S. title. And if Bobby Roode did the same by getting a veteran, Randy Orton, to leave with the U.S. title, I think that would, the Michael Cole could have some cheesy line about, 14 years ago, John Cena had the same fate, and look at where he's ended up with a Hall of Fame career, blah, 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 blah. I think that'd be also a good match, and I'd like to see it.
Yeah, then why not? I think, yeah, absolutely. Randy Orton and Bobby Roode, that sounds like a really good combination as well, as you mentioned earlier. That would be like a real Triple H sort of Randy Orton type feel, like
absolutely.
A lot of Triple H, so that would be cool to see as well. It's just so many possibilities with this WrestleMania. It's just so hard to predict because it is still very early days at the moment. But yeah, look, I'm gonna say Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania at this stage for that SmackDown feud. I think it's looking likely, and I think Daniel Bryan's last match will be against Shane McMahon, and maybe perhaps win on top. And yeah, I don't know. That's what I see happening. It is New Orleans. It is Daniel Bryan's, lucky city, I guess you can say. So Shane McMahon versus Daniel Bryan, and I think it's hard to say. It's hard saying Daniel Bryan will be the heel though going into because he's so over like wherever he goes. So
they could also kind of do a switcheroo where Kevin and Sami, I don't know if they do this, but they could, if he's too popular like he was WrestleMania 30, they could do kind of like a parallel of that where he's supposed to be the archetypal heel, but because of how popular he is, they have to make Kevin and Sami like these dorkish, tweener, but like kind of like arrogant faces. And because Shane is so stuck in his ways and so stubborn, he becomes the heel. They might do something like that. I wouldn't hate that.
No, that's true. Yeah. I can definitely see them switching it around as well. But then again, yeah, obviously if they go Shane McMahon versus Daniel Bryan, where does that leave Kevin and Sami? Maybe they join.
Probably in Daniel's corner. That's what I'll say.
Probably. Yeah, that's possible. That's possible.
Okay, so we're on SmackDown. Why don't we do the last two SmackDown titles? The SmackDown Women's title and the SmackDown Tag titles.
Okay. Well,
SmackDown Women's. Let's start with that.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I see Carmella somehow perhaps cashing in Money in the Bank. I think it's finally her time to deserve. I'm a big Carmella fan, actually. I think she's really good. On the mic, I think she's really good. I mean, wrestling-wise, she still needs a bit of work, but I do like her character, and I do think she will cash in the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania and become the new SmackDown.
I like the character better with James Ellsworth. I'm just gonna say it. I like his
Yeah, she has been a little bit lost in the shuffle at the moment because, yeah, I mean, I haven't really been watching SmackDown, as I said, so I don't really know what's going on. But I still see Carmella cashing in the WrestleMania for the title. As to who's going to be competing for the title, who's the champion now? Is it Charlotte?
Charlotte, yeah.
Yes. Charlotte, I mean, I could perhaps see her facing maybe a Becky Lynch or something for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania. You don't have to necessarily turn Becky heel. You could just have a face versus face, friend versus friend match. I don't see what the problem with that would be.
I don't necessarily see a problem with it. I think it'd be awesome, but my thing is the way this company works is they don't really do that. The most thing that is like at a house show or on a Raw, but like 4 big pay-per-view situations, and this being the biggest pay-per-view on them all, it usually has to be heel versus heel. Why was AJ the heel against Shane? He was beloved. Everyone loved AJ, but they did it because there had to be a heel, and Shane, was in the face role. So I think that'd be great. I don't know if I see it necessarily as much, but I would like to see it, but I don't know if it's, as much of a possibility,
Yeah. So who do you think would face Charlotte, though, as a heel? I mean, SmackDown...
I think Ronda Rousey. I do.
Oh, well. Okay.
I think Rousey's going to come in. I think Raw, they don't need her on Raw. They have a loaded roster on Raw. I think SmackDown was had 6 people before the Riot Squad came in, and the Riot Squad are there, but that's 1.5 roster members because it's Ruby Riot and her lackeys basically, and Tamina doesn't really do anything, and Lana's just kind of nothing. Is the nicest thing is the nicest thing I can say about about Lana. So yeah, I think if Ronda Rousey comes in, and I do think she will debut at the Rumble just because of all the speculation and hype there's been around that, I think she'll go to SmackDown for a number of reasons. First off, because Raw already has too many people, or not too many people, but enough women as is. And also because Raw also has Asuka. And I think they're going to build Ronda Rousey up as a badass UFC chick. She's going to have, she's going to get in there with Natalya on her first night and make Natalya tap in 17 seconds. She's going to go in there and knock Lana out, and Lana's going to be bleeding and get taken away on the stretcher from one hit. They're going to build her up as a monster because that's just the kind of, reputation that Ronda Rousey has that I can see them capitalizing on. It would be kind of silly to do that on Raw because they're already doing the same thing with Asuka. She has 17-second squash matches. She has an undefeated streak that's longer than the sun. And so to have both of those people in the same show would just be counterintuitive in my opinion. So send her to SmackDown, have her be the star of SmackDown, have her beat Charlotte, and then I agree with you about Carmella. I think Ronda beats Charlotte. People are Ronda's big moment. And then Carmella comes in as she's, bloodied and beaten down and won her first title, and Carmella wins. I don't know where they go from there. Probably Ronda would just squish her for it at the next pay-per-view. But I don't think they want to have the first women's Money in the Bank, winner lose their briefcase. I think they want the first women's Money in the Bank winner to cash in successfully so they can say, it's only been cashed in successfully. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Carmella's coming in at the end and winning the title, but I think it's going to be from Ronda Rousey to beat Charlotte.
I totally forgot about Ronda Rousey. That's a very, very good point you brought up there. Yes. I was sort of leaning originally towards Ronda Rousey going to Raw, but like you said, they do have quite a lot of star power already on Raw, and they don't really necessarily need Ronda Rousey. SmackDown does need Ronda Rousey, on the other hand.
I mean, they got Dana Brooke on Raw, and truly that really tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's part of Titus Worldwide now.
Exactly. Aura.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird, but that's a good point you made with Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. That hasn't been a match that's talked about quite a while, so I totally forgot about that match as well. So very, very good point there. But yeah, in saying that, I don't actually see Carmella cashing in if Ronda Rousey was to win.
Cashing is it doesn't is it? I know this was what it was during WrestleMania. I know they had a year. I believe the rule is still that they have to cash it in within the year, right?
Yeah, within the year, I believe so. Yeah, so maybe
so Money in the Bank is 2.5, 3 months after WrestleMania. The next Money in the Bank, so I don't really see them having her cash it in against a fresh Ronda at a B pay-per-view. Yeah,
that's a very good point. But it's just for me, it's hard to see Carmella and Ronda Rousey
I got you.
Sort of in the same ring. together. I don't know. That just
no, I hear, like, think about this. Ronda, they can even make it like a no DQ match, and Charlotte's a badass. So it's like a 30-minute no DQ match. Charlotte beats Ronda down. She's got welts. She's bleeding. She's bruised. She's limping out. She's got like a busted lip, but she's like holding it up and staggering, and she can't even like lift her arm up, and she's so tired. And then Carmella cracks the briefcase over her head. She's out cold, and she cashes it in then. I could see them doing that just because they waited so long with Carmella and kind of backed themselves into a corner. So I feel like they just do that to get the money in the big briefcase out of the way. And then, like, they could even do it the next night on SmackDown. Ron could be like, I want my fucking title shot. And then they do it there, you know?
Yeah. That's another good point. But, you know, I'm also starting to think about the Ronda Rousey, the four horsewomen. You could have Charlotte drop the title before WrestleMania to maybe Carmella will cash in before WrestleMania.
Maybe at the Rumble. Maybe at the Rumble against whoever Charlotte's facing at the Rumble.
Yeah, exactly. You could perhaps have Carmella maybe have a feud with another SmackDown Live superstar like Becky or Naomi or someone like that. I know it's not really a WrestleMania caliber type match, but I think Charlotte would, if not for the SmackDown Women's title, she may be involved in a four horsewomen match with Becky, Sasha, and Bayley versus the UFC four horsewomen match. Because Sasha and Bayley, let's face it, I don't really see what they're gonna do at WrestleMania. Like, I don't see them having a one match together and at this stage. So
Sasha should have turned heel. Like, I love both of them, but Sasha should have turned heel on Bayley like a year ago.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm sort of split on that because I love Sasha and Bayley so much.
Right.
Like, I love them together as a team. But then that's like, I do love Sasha as a heel, and I do love Bayley as that like underdog, you know, face character that they had in NXT. That was a perfect feud there. But I don't know. It's hard. It's either Charlotte versus Ronda, or maybe throw in Charlotte with the four horsewomen match and have that 4-on-4 women's match at WrestleMania.
I would love that. No complaints there. I would love that.
Yeah, and then you could have Carmella walk into WrestleMania as a SmackDown Women's Champion, face maybe Naomi or someone like that, or
like a Becky. Yeah, I mean, also people might say like, you know, it's too crazy. You have to sign all those contracts. But Ronda's just tonight, I got a notification on my phone saying that Ronda was spotted at a restaurant with Triple H, with her agent and Triple H, and so
really? Wow.
Yeah, it's very clearly. They're very clearly close to inking something, even if it's not for the Rumble, like in the next couple months. Shayna's already signed. One of the other gals has left UFC a year ago and is Roddy Strong's, Roddy Strong from NXT.
Yeah.
His wife. So she's like at every NXT taping, so there's no reason that they couldn't go to her into doing that. Then there's one random girl left, but I'm sure the three of them could be like, hey, money for all of us, come on, and convince her to do that. So I could totally see that happen. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, basically, I think summing everything up, I think Ronda Rousey's appearing at WrestleMania one way or another. I think that's pretty much 99% confirmed. But let's go on back to Monday Night Raw.
The Raw tag teams on the Raw Women's. What do we think?
So here's the thing. I see, going back to before, Cesaro and Sheamus winning up the Rumble, the tag team titles against Rollins and Jordan. Mm-hmm. I think they'll walk into WrestleMania the tag team champs. See, I don't know if this will be good or not, because Woken Matt has just debuted as like a singles guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long Jeff will be out for, but what if they have Woken Brothers? Yeah, there we go. Woken Brothers, Jeff and Matt versus Cesaro and Sheamus. I know they've already faced off before and a number of times, but this was a little bit different. You can turn Jeff Woken Jeff as well, and you can have them two team up again and face the Bar again at WrestleMania. That could be an option, and I think that's what they're leaning to.
I see. I would love that. I wouldn't have any problem with that because they didn't do a great match, and I think Jeff is great as Brother Nero. But I have two things on that. I don't know if Jeff's going to be ready by Mania. I don't believe he is. I have no idea. So that's one thing. Also, as cool as it would be to have Jeff do Brother Nero, I don't think they will. Because I think Matt rejuvenated himself as Woken Matt. And the only reason Jeff really did the same thing was because they were on the same 2-hour show, and Matt took up 45 minutes. And Jeff was like, I don't want to be overshadowed. I want to be doing this thing too and making all this money and being in these funny sketches. Whereas now, because if you watch TNA, Broken Matt had 45 minutes worth of the show because they didn't have anything else going on.
Yeah.
WWE does have other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so I think it's much more likely, even though I would love to see Jeff as Brother Nero, I think it's much more likely that we get Matt as Woken Matt, just individually, him and maybe like Rebby and Senor Benjamin and his son Maxwell and all those characters from the Broken Universe on Raw. And I think when Jeff's ready, if that's before Mania or not, I think he goes to SmackDown and fights for the WWE title and has competitive matches with younger guys to build them up in this upper echelon of the mid card and for the world title on SmackDown. Because I would love to see that. Because I think both of the Hardys are marketable on their own, and I think it would be kind of silly, even though they have great matches together and great chemistry together, to waste them as a tag team any longer, if that makes sense. I'm actually not kind of saying, because like we said, we both think the Bar is going to win it back at the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be them defending, hold on, I have it right here, against the Revival, who, because of age and just poor booking, have been terribly underutilized, even though they're fantastic, versus the Authors of Pain.
Oh, okay.
AOP has really done all they can in NXT. They've had a great NXT title reigns. They've sort of finished off their feud with the Undisputed Era. That's more between Insanity and the Era. And I feel like they're more than ready for the main roster as far as popularity and skill goes. They also have had a great history of, triple threat and individual tag team matches with the Revival. So DIY versus the Revival versus the AOP was arguably the best match of the year from last year. And I think adding the Bar to absolute pros, to a former world champion and one of the greatest wrestlers, technical in-ring performers of all time, would steal the show. It would be hard hitting because they're all kind of, brute hoss kind of guys. But I think they'd also be able to tell a great story. And I think it would rejuvenate Raw's tag division when they really need rejuvenation. So the Revival finally getting their shot on Raw, AOP debuting and facing the standard bearers of the division, the Bar. What do you think about that?
That sounds like a great match. I would love to see that. Would you add like some sort of stipulation to that, like maybe a ladder match or what?
Maybe like I'm thinking because like ladder match is more for like high flying things. Yeah. Maybe like a last man standing or like a tables match or something more like kind of like crunchy, I guess, or like these like big brooding hard hitting bastards,
Yeah. No, that's interesting. It's another good point. I never really thought about Authors of Pain debuting on the main roster anytime soon, but it's a really good point. And with the Revival as well, they've sort of been a little bit forgotten at the moment because obviously they've just come back from injury. Of course, one of them come back from injury. Yeah, they've had a real bad run with the Revival. So it would be good to see them come back into the title picture and have a strong showing at WrestleMania. I think they deserve it as well. So that would be another match I could see happening as well.
All right, and also the Raw Women's title. What do we say happening?
Oh man. Well, since we both said Asuka's going to win the Rumble, I don't know if they do Alexa versus Asuka. I think that'll be an interesting match, but they've already sort of done it on Raw. And
I think it's Paige versus Asuka.
Paige, yes. Okay.
I think Paige has the absolution. I think at the Elimination Chamber, they probably have the first women's Elimination Chamber match. Maybe not. But Paige versus Alexa is a great match. It's a dream match for me that I've, personally wanted to see for a while. I think Paige unseats Alexa with the help of absolution to really cement that stable as dominant. And then she goes up against Asuka because they've been building that up for a while. Like Absolution's been coming out and goading her, and she's been like fighting them off or walking off. So there's definitely like something brewing there. So I think it's Paige and Asuka finally gets the win.
Yeah, I think you've convinced me as well. I think Paige is definitely going to face Asuka. I think she'll walk into WrestleMania as the champ as well. Perhaps win it off Alexa at Fastlane or something like that. Yeah, and then Asuka, of course, to win and defeat Absolution, and that would be I think that would be an interesting match. So the thing is now, where does that leave Braun Strowman? We haven't really mentioned Braun Strowman yet.
We have been hearing a lot of rumors. See, at first I thought Triple H because it was like they had the thing at Survivor Series, but I think they'll do that somewhere down the line, maybe SummerSlam, maybe next year's Mania, because I think Braun's guaranteed to be here a lot longer than Kurt Angle is. So. Anyway. We've been hearing rumors about the return of a certain star, a former world champion, a bona fide future Hall of Famer, and a guy who said that I want to have one last run where it's not just part-time, where I do house shows and weekly TV and autograph signings at every pay-per-view, and I'm just as full-time as, you know, AJ Styles. And that guy, I don't know if you've heard about this.
I have.
Animal Batista.
Okay.
And I think that'd be great. I think they're both powerful, hard-hitting dudes. And I think if Braun's not going to be in a title picture, he needs to look dominant somewhere else. And I think what better way than having a great match where he beats Batista. Competitive effort. Batista comes back, has one last great program, puts Braun over. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. He put Bryan over. He took being, you know, called Batista in stride. And he's made it very clear that he wants to work again, you know, even if he hasn't always left on the best terms. Wrestling is what gave him a start, and that's like what he wants to end it properly. And so I would love to see Braun and Batista. I think that'd be a great match.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that actually as well, Jordan. You've got quite a few number of good possibilities.
Throw them all at you, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Like I said, I haven't really thought too much about the whole road to WrestleMania. This is sort of the first time I'm really talking about it, like in depth like this. But that's a really good option. Batista has said that he wants to return full time, so that's another good option as well. If not Batista, I sort of going back to John Cena. I've heard John Cena and Braun Strowman being, you know, talked about a little bit, but then where does that leave Samoa Joe as well? So it's really hard to say at this stage. Yeah, I think either John Cena or Batista. I think I would be very happy with an opponent for Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. He does need someone big, like a big name as well to help put him over. I think he
literally and figuratively, a big name and a big name.
Exactly. He needs that real victory against the top name at WrestleMania to really solidify himself as a true main eventer on Raw. So I've also heard Undertaker's name brought up as well, which I really don't want to see. No way. But yeah.
I never thought of this. I'm just thinking about this now. Goldberg looked pretty good last year. He set the doors always open. Goldberg and Braun would be kind of cool.
I would see that, yeah. I was thinking that as well, literally just 5 seconds ago. But then again, it's like Goldberg is a little bit. I mean, he only had like a 3 or 4 minute match with Lesnar at WrestleMania. I don't think he can go a real full distance match anymore. But yeah, the build up would be cool, absolutely. Like, you know, they both got very similar styles and things like that. So that would be another cool match to see. But yeah, I don't see it happening. I'd see either, but yeah, like you said, Batista or a John Cena perhaps going up against Braun at WrestleMania. I think that would be cool.
So what about the Cruiserweight title? What do you see going on there?
Interesting. I'm really big fan of Drew Gulak at the moment. I think he should really start going out on his own. He's really perhaps maybe become the next face of the Cruiserweight division. But I would love to see Neville make a return. He's been away from the company at the moment, but I would love to see them bring him back. And maybe
he's not released, and we've been getting reports like every couple of weeks that they're in talk. So one can only hope.
Yeah, so I think that would be a good starting point for Neville. Maybe make a return before, maybe even at the Rumble he could make a return. Who knows?
Wow, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. But then yeah, I don't want to say Neville versus Enzo Amore. I'm over that.
I'm over Enzo, I must say.
Yeah,
I want to see Enzo do it. I tweeted about this last night. I want Gregory Helms to get re-signed and do interviews for like a couple months, and then Enzo to be a dick and make the Hurricane come back, and then the Hurricane to just get Enzo off of 205 Live. That's all I want. That's what I want from Enzo.
That would be really cool as well. I'd love to see that. So I love that idea as well, Jordan. But maybe they bring up like a name. Like they build up a sort of style like Mustafa Ali. Maybe they bring him up and take the belt off Enzo, or maybe they do Gulak takes the belt off Enzo, turns face. I don't know, but either way, I see either Neville, Gulak, or Mustafa Ali as champion at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's funny. One guy you didn't mention was Ricochet, who we've been hearing a lot about. You know, him signing. He stopped taking dates. I think like yesterday it was when he stopped taking dates indie wise. And he's been like hinting about it on social media, and a lot of sources have reported that he was very close to signing, if not having signed already. I think Ricochet one of the top indie stars and the counterpart to Will Ospreay. Has any chance of winning it?
That's a good chance. Yeah, absolutely. They could bring him in before WrestleMania and challenge Enzo for the title. I think that would be cool.
Or how about this? Another one I was thinking is like an 8-man ladder match, because that was a staple with Money in the Bank, and then it was kind of missing. And then they did it for a couple of years in California and Dallas with the Intercontinental title ladder matches, and we didn't get one last year. Yep. And considering it was the motive of the pre-show, I don't see why we don't do a big old ladder match. Eight guys, you get, Enzo, Ricochet, Hideo Itami, Jack Gallagher, Brian Kendrick, Noam Dar, Cedric, I don't know, Gulak, something like that.
That's cool. Yeah, I think I mentioned that last year as well.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One of the videos we did last year, and then that would, yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that last year. I mean, I understand they did the Austin Aries versus Neville, which was a good match. I don't know, still don't know to this day why Austin Aries didn't win that, but
now he's like, he's shaved head and he's got like these weird tights and he's like shilling his book at indie shows. Weird, man. He's going through like a midlife crisis. He looks like Pitbull the rapper.
Now he's gone to Impact Wrestling. Apparently,
has he really? He's back.
He just posted on Twitter. He's back in Impact Wrestling. So.
He's not. That's funny. That's really funny that he's back.
Yeah. So it's another new, well, not a new adventure, but he's back in Impact Wrestling. So good for him, I guess. But yeah, that would be really cool. A ladder match for the Cruiserweight title. I think that would really steal the show. They've done that with the Intercontinental title a few years ago. I think they did that. So I would be all for that as well. Yeah, absolutely.
So on the topic of championships, the last real championship I can think of, do we see the UK title defended? Because it's been more an NXT thing. We've seen it at takeovers. We've seen Dunn and Bate and all the UK guys more regularly on NXT TV. But we did see when they were in the UK, Dunn face Enzo, and then the next day at 205 Live, they all kind of invaded and had matches with the Cruiserweights. I think it was like Bate and Enzo, and then like Gallagher and what's his face, Kendrick versus like Cedric and Mandrews and stuff like that. So they definitely show that they're willing to bring up the UK division, and I think what better way to really cement it and put it in everyone's mind as something to take legitimately than have a match for it in WrestleMania. Could you see Dunn defending it, or do you think that's kind of a pipe dream?
I don't see it being defended, unfortunately, on the big stage of WrestleMania. I think not many people are really all that familiar with him at this stage. I think perhaps maybe at the NXT TakeOver they'll have that, or for sure they'll have that defended at NXT TakeOver. And
let me throw something at you, though.
Yeah.
We're probably getting Roman and Brock. The only other possibility you threw out for that match was Finn Balor. Finn Balor is not a guy we've talked about a lot. Finn versus Pete for the UK title. I mean, I know he's not maybe technically in the exact province, but Johnny Gargano got a UK title match. I think they'd have an absolute clinic, and I think it'd be a perfect way to cement Finn whether or not he wins and really prove that he's still a top guy not to mess with, and also show that, the head of the UK division can hang with, if not beat, the first ever Universal Champion. I don't know if they'll do it, but I think that could be something cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, they definitely put on I think anybody can put on a real decent match with Finn Balor. He's that sort of guy that really talented. And same goes for Pete Dunne as well. But I don't know. I don't know if I see him going for the UK title. I think he needs a more prominent match at WrestleMania.
Maybe the Intercontinental title. Maybe you've seen us with Braun. It could be Finn and Joe or something.
Yeah, it could be Finn and Joe, it could be Finn and Miz. It's the possibilities are endless, really. As I said, it's really early days. There's just so many possibilities. It's always fun to think about, prior to WrestleMania, what could happen, what you want to see. And I think today we've really done a pretty good job at going through all the possibilities.
I think we have one, maybe two more things. I'll throw my real quick because this has gone long. Andre Battle Royal. We know who's going to be in it. It's going to be, the Miz Taraj. It's going to be Goldust. It's going to be the mid-carders, the low-carders, the Kurt Hawkins, and beyond. Who do you think wins it? Any idea? Any predictions? Anyone you want to win it?
Oh, man, I really haven't thought about it at all, but it will definitely be some mid-carder. I think who won last year? Mojo Rawley won last year, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's really finally only starting to get his feet off the ground now.
Look, I'm just gonna say Zack Ryder. I don't know. I'm just saying some random.
Maybe like an NXT guy, maybe like a Cassius Ohno, like a guy who isn't really doing a lot in NXT, and they could bring him up and to give that some legitimacy. I mean, they did it with Baron Corbin, so why not do it again?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure they'll have Baron Corbin in there as well at some point. Maybe a 2-time winner of Baron Corbin. I mean, who knows, really?
Okay, 2 more quick things. New
Yes.
Day. What do we see? What do we see them doing with the New Day? Maybe something that's well.
That could be a possibility. Yeah, like a Raw versus SmackDown match. I don't know. I just see them being involved in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal for some reason.
Or maybe like backstage skits or something. Yeah, they don't necessarily need to.
I mean, last year they were the host of WrestleMania, so they didn't really have that much of a prominent role.
Yeah.
But it's like it's hard to see them in an actual match. I mean, they don't really have anybody on SmackDown to face.
They could do like them versus like the Bludgeon Brothers and one more person, or them versus like they could bring up like Sanity and have them versus Sanity, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good possibility as well. For me, I just see them being thrown into the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, or maybe not another hosting gig, but they'll be on WrestleMania somehow, maybe a backstage forever or something.
And last but not least, I know you mentioned maybe Woken Matt with Brother Nero against Sheamus and Cesaro the Bar for the Raw Tag titles, but if that doesn't happen, we've been seeing Bray and Matt. A lot of people thought Bray and Matt at the Rumble, but since they're both in the Rumble match, they're probably saving that for a later date, and considering how much they're building this up, it's probably not going to be Fastlane. There's a good chance we'll get Woken Matt and Bray at Mania, and if we do you think they pull the trigger and make it like a Final Deletion style match? Maybe not call it Final Deletion because they're not calling him Broken Matt because they don't want, to have any more relation to TNA than they need to have. But yeah, something that's like they brawl up the ramp and then they go through the curtain and they're at Matt's private hotel in Orlando. It's pre-taped obviously, and Maxo trips up Bray and Revy's playing the piano and you got the shovel and you got the drone. Is there any chance we see something like that, or do you think that they're not willing to go that weird with Woken Matt?
Oh hey man, I'd be all for it. I mean, I mean, as weird as it is, I enjoy seeing Woken Matt and Bray every week.
Oh, it's awesome! It's so great.
Yeah, so I think they could definitely pull something off at WrestleMania because, as you said, they're both in the Rumble, so they're obviously not going to face each other at the Rumble. They shouldn't save this for Fastlane. I mean, Fastlane is just a B-level pay-per-view that really shouldn't hold a caliber of this match. So I think it should be saved for WrestleMania if they're not going with a Woken Matt or a Woken Jeff tag match or something like that. But hey, I'd be all for it. Woken Matt versus Bray, I think, would be a great match. Maybe they'll have some sort of, not like a Matt's creating his own sort of unique match type, with Jinder Mahal in the Punjabi prison. Maybe they can have some sort of Woken, like you said, the final deletion part. But I think it should be in the ring instead of going outside of the ring and pre-taped. I think it would be more special if it was I
agree.
Inside the arena. They could have some sort of, I don't know, background, some sort of Woken background. I don't know. It's really,
something like that.
Yeah.
Well, as you said, we've done a pretty good job of that. We've taken up enough of your time. We've taken up enough of the people's time, but this has been fun. I'm so glad we decided to do it, and we're almost there, almost revving up to the road to WrestleMania. But this was awesome. Thank you for joining me today, Jason.
No, it's been a pleasure, Jordan. Thank you for having me on the show. I really, really enjoyed the good talk here we have for WrestleMania. As I said, WrestleMania is always an exciting time of the year with the Royal Rumble coming up, and very, very excited. We'll have to wait and see all the possibilities and if any of it has come true.
It's true. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to maybe do a review of it or something down the line. But either way, Jason, it's been a pleasure. Want to get anything out to the people before we head out? A quick plug, Rudy?
Yeah, sure. If you guys haven't followed me already, make sure you follow me on Twitter at JasonDiba. That's JasonDiba. Like to post a lot of wrestling tweets, of course. But thank you guys. Thank you, Jordan, for having me. Thank you guys for watching, and it's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely. I'll put your link to your Twitter and your channel and anything else come up below, and I'll put the link to my stuff. Keep watching, guys. Check out more reviews of Jason's stuff. Check out more of his videos. Check out more of my videos. Check back here for more thoughts on the Rumble, WrestleMania, and beyond. I've been Jordan WS. He's been Jason Diba. Thank you for watching. I'm signing off now. Catch you guys later.
See you guys.